Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, he really made a mark for himself in the NFL. Now he's leaving a legacy for others through wealth management. Cory Procter's winning playbook, next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, he spent 6 years in the NFL playing for teams like the Cowboys, Lions, and Dolphins, but God called an audible in this young man's life. Cory Procter is in the studio. He's the founder of Pro Capital Wealth Management. Thanks for coming on the show.
Come on. Happy to be here.
All right. And I think you agree with me that we draw up a play, but then God has another plan. So how did you go from NFL greatness to wealth management?
It's kind of a progression, right? Probably like most people, it wasn't all overnight, but I found my faith and I had to figure out what the heck was next for me in life. And I was doing a lot of speaking engagements and actually working with you, right?
That's right.
We were working together and you helped me out a ton in that.
Thank you.
And there was always a financial guy in the crowd trying to recruit me. And I listened to all of them. They all had great things to say, but it wasn't where I wanted to be necessarily. And so I had prayed about it. God basically he was like, remember what you happened in your past. And it was basically this discovery about why I behave the way I do with money, and where I wasn't afraid to invest, but I always kind of had this healthy fear of it going away. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, but I basically recounted what happened in my life. And so junior year in high school, I had rear-ended a lady. She filed suit, and a year later, my mom, stepdad filed for bankruptcy. And it wasn't anything they wanted, but it was because the Suburban was in their name that I was driving. And so since that was the case, it fell on them. And so I kind of had this, I guess, healthy fear coming into the NFL about that thing repeating itself. And so got hooked up with an advisor from Marco Rivera. If you're a Cowboys fan, he was my mentor playing ball. And she made me good money. And I always wanted to just ask a ton of questions. What was going on? Why are we doing this? What is this? And I still remember she told me what a bond was. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm like, why would you borrow your money at? You don't get it back when you borrow it back, And so it was just, I wasn't afraid to ask stupid questions. And eventually those questions started to become smarter. And she was always great, fast, took time with me, which I really appreciated. And so, I basically just dove into my own stuff. And so 15 years removed from the league now, my wife and I are in a lot greater position financially than we ever were playing ball, and didn't become a statistic. And so I basically just wanted to put a vault around our life where we protected as much as we could against any sort of train wreck scenario. And so, I'm, happy to say we've done a lot, and that became, hey, go repeat that for other people. And so that's what we did.
That's beautiful. Okay, much more from Cory Procter in a minute. We found a great video. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Hi, I'm Cory Procter, and I'm the founder of Pro Capital Wealth Management. I wanted to take a minute to share about the founding of Pro Capital, how we operate, and why our story might matter to you. People usually ask me, how'd you get into what you do? How'd you get into financial planning? And everybody knows we're a product of our life experiences. And it's no surprise through a ton of my life stories that's led me into what I do now. One example is when I was in high school, I got into a car accident. I rear-ended a lady. We pulled into her apartment complex. She ran inside to call the police to get a report, came out, and we exchanged information on our insurance. Everything seemed all right. Everything seemed fine until we got a letter in the mail from her attorney filing a lawsuit for damages and lost wages. We didn't have a whole lot to begin with, so that became a burden right away. Several years later, I played 6 years in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions, and Miami Dolphins. We all hear about pro athletes and how they spend all their money, make bad investments, and go broke. I even experienced that up close. I had one friend who lost $12 million in one investment. It's a bad deal. I wanted to make sure that never happened to me, so I made it a goal to find out everything I could about money. Also lost loved ones in my life and experienced sickness. You can see how fast medical bills can pile right up. And sometimes you don't have any other choice but to use every resource you have available. It was through these experiences that taught me a valuable lesson. Money gives you choices. So to protect my family and our future, I want to make sure that I have those choices moving forward. So today, when we work with clients, we ask the question, if something similar happened in your life, what could be used to satisfy judgment? Could they take your house? What about your investment accounts? Or do you even know? I've been extremely proactive and intentional about my assets, and I had no idea that it would develop into Pro Capital, but I'm glad it did. Our entire focus is to protect people's money, assets, and their life's purpose. That's what Pro Capital is all about. Life can change in an instant, but we can help you to take the steps to protect your future and the future of your family.
And that video was shot several years ago, so you have a family update. They're not all that small anymore. Tell us about your family.
It was a little old, but we have 3 babies, girl, boy, girl, 10, 5, and 1.
Wow.
And Grace, Hank, and Faith, and they're the best. They got my voice right now, so it's a little loud in the house at times, but it's pretty amazing.
Well, you certainly have all the motivation in the world to take care of that precious family. I want you to share with us one of your favorite client success stories.
Sure, several. So, one of the things we look for is account titling. So typically asset managers, from what I've seen in my history, they look at start and end with the money, they don't go anywhere else. And okay, great, that's a great way to get paid, but if there was an event that could wipe it all away, it means nothing. And so we had a couple that came in from out of state, from the East Coast, and they was about $9 million in a brokerage account, and they had shared what was going on. I go, tell me about yourself. Well, they were on their second marriage, kids from previous marriage, and which as soon as they said that kind of jarred me because they had brought in this statement. And I go, well, okay, well, who's disinheriting one side of the kids? And they kept befuddled, right? They kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? Why would you say something like that? And I go, well, I'm not trying to pass judgment. I'm just asking, was that part of the plan? And they said, no. I go, okay, well, the titling of your account says otherwise. Basically, if you die, it all goes to your wife, and she can cut out your side of the kids altogether, and vice versa. And really, the grand mal is like if you die and she gets remarried,
right,
and she dies, it can all go to the next spouse and cut out both sides. And it doesn't matter what the will or trust said is that at that point, the account titling is what supersedes all situations. And so, so we called the broker in another state where they were at, and he didn't know what the issue was, so I gave him a little mini estate planning lesson.
Right.
And so we hung up the phone, and that obviously that became a new client right there. But it was great because we get that titling fixed where their estate now handles where that money flows, and that's a big thing because I come from a mixed family too, and so it's not like every situation doesn't fit every family or every person. Yes. And that stuff is a lot of times a check of the box that goes unnoticed.
Let's talk a little bit about pro athletes, because notoriously they make all this money up front and then many of them are broke after a few years. Why do so many pro athletes go broke?
I heard something not too long ago that was kind of interesting is a lot of times, guys make money with their bodies, so they haven't a lot of times develop the mental acuity or capacity or learning or any experience up to that point to manage the money correctly. So, what I like, typically like our peak earning years are in our 50s. And well, you have to go through some growth during that time and maturity and development to get any sort of real money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And, you know, as opposed to coming out of high school or college and just having a big bag of money dropped in your lap. And there's some good guys that treat it the right way, where it's like, I don't want to screw this up. But there's a lot of guys that just don't have the maturity yet to handle it. And so they either go blow it or they trust the wrong people, and which is just a common thing.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's suppose you're representing the Cowboys' #1 draft pick. What would be some advice that you would give to this guy?
Number one, this is a business. Treat it like one. And you're a business. Your body is a business. Treat it like a business. And if you treat it like a business, knowing I can't let emotion drive every one of these decisions, and I got to have some sort of vision long term on this, right? And so, whether that's me in the league, and what I mean by that is, you know, I don't have to tell you to go study the stock market, study the real estate. You may have a natural affinity to that, which is cool. But what you need to be doing is investing into a chef or into a trainer specifically for you that is going to create the body to have another contract that you might not have had otherwise. Because you'll make way more ROI on that if you get one more contract than you ever would learning up about the S&P. And same thing here, because if you treat it like a business, you could have monumental returns, versus just a traditional portfolio where nobody knows exactly where that's going to fall.
Well, and could you say to this star athlete, okay, we're going to take $10 million and we're just going to put it in this fund that you can't get access to. So no matter how foolish you are with your money, we got $10 million set aside for you that will grow at a certain percentage. I mean, I want your reaction to that.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't take away access altogether. I mean, if a guy really wanted to, he could put barriers around where maybe he had a board of some sort that checked his decision making. Totally cool in that situation. Now, I would encourage somebody to do that. Like if you got the 10 million, a lot of you netted and you got 10 million account and you were able to pull like conservatively 300 grand gross out a year out of that. If you're in college and you had 300 grand worth of income a year, you'd be go bonkers, you know? And so I think of those situations where it's like, listen, if we can do this at a really responsible rate, then you'll have this for a long time. And you'll have what my wife and I had was time and freedom to make a choice. And, or extra to invest with people like you, like I did coming out, to figure out my next steps. And that paid me tenfold, you know? And so those were critical that I would share with guys. It's like, make sure, put it all, that's what I did. I put it all to work. And I found fruit from that.
Wow, congratulations. I want to talk about your dream team because you've assembled some really high caliber players. Tell us what you look for in an associate or a team member.
Well, I tell you what, I've struck out a few times already. So you know this, anybody hiring, you're like, okay, I've screwed this up too many times. I got to make sure this is better. So we really had to refine our hiring process quite a bit. And it's amazing to me who still doesn't do their homework. And I'd be like, tell me what you know about the firm. And they can't name anything, or they make up stuff on the spot. It blows me up. But we have a process that we go through, and very, very much, and I get this from my mastermind, is if you got a problem, it's either a person problem or a process problem. And make sure it's a process first before you let go of the person, so you make sure they have full opportunity, right, to win. But so we make sure we have a great hiring process along the way. And that's tests and that's video interviews, and they have to do their own recorded video to submit with their resume to make sure they have some sort of acuity of what's going on around them before they ever get to it. But I tell you, the people I really look for we use a Colbier test as one of our pieces that we test people. And I need high quick start or high finishers, which those are very much action-oriented responses. And that test is, it's an impulse response. It's not necessarily a character, like what kind of character you are, but it's an impulse. What are you going to do when you have a task in front of you? And And so, and you can have on that test, if you go look at it, you can have a somebody who's even across the board, but you got to have a default somewhere. So that's what I need, because the people I've struck out on, they never got started, or they didn't finish any of the tasks that I asked them to do.
There you go.
And so I got to have people that are self-motivated.
Yeah.
I don't need to motivate.
Yes.
That they can go get the task done themselves.
All right. If you put this in NFL terms, it's the person who shows up early, stays late. You don't have to drag them into the locker room.
They're there reliably all the time. Even if they're not there early or late, they're there reliably, and you know they're working and not passing out.
Right.
And those are the people. I spoke to the rookies not too long ago. I can look at the crowd and see who is upright, taking notes, paying attention, making eye contact, the people in the front row typically, right? And who are the ones falling asleep.
Right.
The guys that are attentive they're the ones that care. Yeah. And so same with my team members. I can determine in the first week if somebody is going to be good.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, Mackenzie is our ops director right now. And brand new into this industry. Yeah. She was actually in IT recruiting, I think is what it was before this. First, we had to get some information for some attorneys for one of our clients. And she found it in our CRM, in our filing system, in 30 minutes and got everything back to these people.
No kidding.
And I asked her when I got back to the office, I saw the email. I go, where'd you find it? And she goes, I just went looking for it.
Wow.
And I'm like, I just need somebody to want to go get it. And those are the kind of people, honestly, that you're like, take my money.
Yeah.
You're worth it. And you want to pay and give those people the opportunities. Yeah. And so those are the people we need is hungry.
Staying with football for a second, if you were to analyze your leadership style as a coach, what kind of coach are you?
Man, I'm a little more Bill Parcells.
Are you?
Yeah.
My way or the highway?
Well, I think of it blunt.
Yeah.
Super blunt. And I like coaches that told me straight immediately so I could fix my problem immediately. And the faster that I can get that done, the faster I was like a puppy. I wanted your praise. Yeah. And faster I can get your praise. And so very much like that. And where if I can give you feedback in real time and you take it, you'll fix it in real time.
Yeah.
And so if anybody can do it, that's now I've questioned myself at time, am I being too hard on some people? But I'll tell you what, the people that have stayed on board, they're warriors. They're like, I can take that, I can make it, and that's when you're just like, you're incredible. Wow. And you want to give all the praise to.
Wow. Cory, that's a great way to end this program. We're going to also leave you with his website. We're going to put it up on the screen. It's procapitaltx.com. The great Cory Procter. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.